So thank you for joining us this afternoon. And I'll make a start. My name is Noel Purdy. I'm Director of Research and Scholarship here at Stranmillis University College in Belfast. I'm also a long-standing member and former Northern Chair of the Steering Committee of SCoTENS. And SCoTENS is a standing conference on teacher education north and south. And it's SCoTENS that has provided the funding for this cross-border collaboration between my colleague, Dr. Pamela Moffett from Stranmillis, and Dr. Síun Nic Mhuiri from Dublin City University. SCoTENS, for those who are unfamiliar with it, is one of the most significant and enduring examples of cross-border collaboration. Established by leading teacher educators north and south in the wake of and in the spirit of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, SCoTENS has been in operation since 2003, although the first North-South Conference of Teacher Educators actually took place back in 2000 here in Belfast. The founding fathers of SCoTENS were Professor John Coolighan from Maynooth University and Dr. Harry McMahon from Ulster University. Since its inception, SCoTENS has provided a safe space for teacher educators north and south to come together for professional development, but also to carry out collaborative research projects on areas of mutual interest. SCoTENS receives its funding from member organisations, but also from both Northern and Southern Education Departments of Government. The Secretariat is provided by the Centre for Cross-Border Studies in Armagh. The research funding is modest and is referred to as seed funding, as it's always intended to act as a springboard to further, more extensive collaboration. Nonetheless, there have been well over 100 examples of cross-border seed funding projects since 2003, which have resulted in countless research reports, journal articles, conference presentations, and classroom resources like those we're going to see today. Above all, these projects have helped to build closer links and to develop greater understanding of our respective education systems, north and south, and importantly, to build strong and lasting friendships between educators and teacher educators, north and south. Just last night, we celebrated a range of recently completed research projects at our annual SCoTENS research webinar, and we were able to present this year's Coolighan Award to Dr. TJ O'Calla from University College Cork and Gabriel Naguir from St Mary's University College in Belfast for their project that explored the professional competences of teachers working within the Irish medium education sectors, north and south. For those unfamiliar with SCoTENS or wishing to apply to this year's seed funding competition, which is now open, I'll add the link to the chat for you to take a closer look. And now on to this afternoon's programme. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you as delegates to this online launch, and also particularly delighted to welcome our panellists who will be sharing their experiences with us in just a moment. Those panellists are Sharon Graham from Killylea Primary School in the north, Jennifer Holligan from St Cronan's Senior National School in the south, Dr. Pamela Moffett from here at Stranmillis University College in Belfast, and Dr. Maura Coulter from DCU in Dublin. So without further ado, let me hand over to my colleague, Dr. Pamela Moffett, who's going to explain the rationale for the project. And thank you very much for coming along this afternoon, and congratulations to all involved in producing this absolutely excellent set of resources. Thank you very much. Pamela.
Thank you so much for joining our event this afternoon. Síun and I are delighted to have this opportunity to introduce you to our website for outdoor learning in mathematics at Key Stage 2. This is the main outcome of a partnership project that we have been working on for the past year. The overall aim of the project is to build teacher capacity for outdoor learning in mathematics. It is hoped that this resource will support Key Stage 2 teachers in their planning for teaching mathematics outdoors. The benefits of outdoor learning are far-reaching. There is substantial evidence to suggest that learning outside the classroom has a positive impact on children's cognitive, affective, social and behavioural skills. Spending time in nature also has the potential to promote children's physical health and mental well-being. And there is a great deal of overlap between these areas, with the benefits reinforcing and catalysing each other. Healthier, happier children have higher educational attainment, And investing in a child's learning has the potential to improve social outcomes, health and well-being during adulthood. However, there is evidence to suggest that children of today are spending less time outdoors. And it also appears that there is a decline in outdoor learning provision, particularly between the early years and later stages of primary education. The literature reports a wide range of barriers to the provision of outdoor learning experiences in schools, and these include concerns about health and safety, teacher lack of confidence and self-efficacy in teaching outdoors, curriculum pressures, lack of time, resources and support, and wider systemic changes within the education system. Teacher access to training is another commonly cited obstacle. And the emphasis on test-based accountability has been linked with a decrease in outdoor learning experiences for children, particularly towards the later stages of primary education. Despite these challenges, there appears to be a renewed interest in outdoor learning, particularly since the COVID-19 pandemic. Many educators recognise the value of providing learning experiences which simultaneously improve children's health and well-being, as well as achieving curriculum aims. In Northern Ireland, the programmes of study for mathematics and numeracy at primary level recommend the use of meaningful contexts for the introduction of mathematical ideas. However, there are few specific references to the use of the outdoor environment. Most of the references appear in the programmes of study in the foundation stage. In the foundation stage, children are encouraged to develop their mathematical understanding through experiences of the world around them. They should be enabled to explore and talk about shapes in the environment and explore movement through space during outdoor play. They're also encouraged to investigate and talk about pattern in the environment. In Key Stage 1, the curriculum states that use should be made of the immediate environment and the world around them to extend children's knowledge of mathematics. There are no explicit references to the outdoor environment in the statutory requirements for mathematics and numeracy at Key Stage 2. I'll now hand over to Síun, my colleague, who will talk about the context in the Republic of Ireland.
Good afternoon, all. Currently, we're undergoing a lot of curriculum change, and as part of that, the primary curriculum framework outlines a number of principles of learning. And these principles are intended to highlight what's valued in primary education and what lies at the heart of high quality learning experiences. And the learning environment is singled out as one of our key principles for effective learning. And there is explicit recognition of the outdoors in that statement. So the framework states that children's learning is shaped and nurtured by the physical environment, indoors and outdoors. And these diverse environments encourage children's independence and stimulate and support their learning across the curriculum. So in some ways, we are lucky to have this explicit recognition of the outdoors in our new curriculum framework. In addition to this, in relation to mathematics specifically, we have a new mathematics curriculum that was just launched last September. And that curriculum restates the principles of learning and recognises the importance of the learning environment. It also recognises that mathematics can help children to understand the world, and that mathematics and mathematics learning takes place in different settings, including the home, school environment, outdoors, indoors, and so on. So while the idea of teaching maths outdoors might be relatively new to some of us, it's very much in line with the vision of learning that's outlined in the new curriculum documents. In relation to our project, then, our first approach was to try to understand the situation. And to do this, we started a literature review and a large-scale survey where we distributed a questionnaire to all schools. And this study showed a strong interest in teaching maths outdoors, but varying levels of confidence and a lot of variability in current practices, with infant and junior primary classes more likely to experience outdoor mathematics teaching. But that survey also showed evidence that teachers would like more interest in more ideas for teaching mathematics outdoors, and were interested in pursuing this area. So after this survey, we moved on to establish a professional learning community with some of our fantastic teachers, some of whom are here today and who you'll hear more from later. And if you do have questions, I'd encourage you to put them into the chat, because we will have an opportunity for those teachers to feed back to you later. And so these teachers worked with us across phases 2, 3, and 4, where we delivered activities and teachers tested these activities in their own schools. And then we refined both the proposed activities and the design of the online resources in response to the teachers' feedback. And today we're very excited to launch the online resource. We will continue to market it, to try to get the word out there to other teachers, and we'd really appreciate your help with that. We'd also be really grateful for your help in evaluating the resource and collecting data on what's useful for teachers and trying to support them to develop in this area. So if you do have a chance to try some of our activities, we'd appreciate if you would give us some feedback on them. So Pamela, thank you. I'm going to start sharing now to show you some of our nice resource, and we will put the link in the chat later for you to explore in your own time. So as you'll see, the Out and About resource, it's housed on the Stranmillis University website as part of their resource centre there. And I'm just going to talk really briefly about the structure of our resource. So after our initial activity, our initial introduction, the main bulk of our content is accessed through these images. We have some information on getting started. Pamela will speak to that later. And then the actual mathematics content, the lessons, the learning activities can be accessed through the various buttons here that are labelled with the strand units of the mathematics curriculum. Importantly, as I said, we are looking for feedback, and we'd be very grateful to get your feedback. So right here down the bottom, if you are interested in evaluating the resources and giving us some more feedback, we'd be really grateful if you'd fill in some of the short survey questions there. And I'm going to pass over to Pamela again, who's going to talk you through some of the actual activities in more detail.
Okay, so we're going to start off by exploring some of the activities within the number and algebra strand. When you click on any one of the strands, you'll get a selection of activities to choose from. So we've got a wide range of activities here, some involving place value, rounding numbers, several activities on fractions, and then some work on patterns and so on. So I'm going to start with fraction gallery. Now, for each activity, you'll be able to see a brief summary of what the activity involves. So fraction gallery involves using natural resources to represent a fraction as part of a shape. When you click on the link, a PDF of the activity will hopefully open on screen. Okay, and all of the activities follow this same format. On the left-hand side of the activity, we have identified the main learning points for the activity. Key vocabulary is highlighted as well, and a list of the resources required for the activity. Then in the main part of the PDF, you'll see the activity notes. And this really is an overview of the learning progression. It is not meant to be a lesson script. Rather, it's guidance for teachers, guidance on how the activity could be carried out with a whole class or group of children. Key questions are italicised, and then throughout the activity, we have identified key teaching points, and they will appear in text boxes. Towards the end of the activity, there is a Taking Ideas Further section. Now, this is a section on how ideas could be developed. Some of the ideas will include further work that could be done outside, usually in the form of extension tasks. Other Taking Ideas Further will include suggestions on how the work could be continued back in the classroom, possibly through further research activities. And then the main assessment opportunities are identified at the end. So that is the fraction gallery activity, which focuses on representing fractions. So you can see from the photographic images here that children can explore different ways of representing the same fraction. And then they can create pictures. And then the challenge here, so if you want to stretch those more able children, they can be given more challenging fraction pictures to work with. Okay, so let me now go to, I think I'm going to go to an activity within the measure section, just to show you a different type of activity. So again, in the measure section, you've got a whole list of different activities here, all of which incorporate different aspects of the measure curriculum. I'm going to click on garden designs. Now, this is an example of one of our more open-ended activities. And in this activity, you'll see that children are tasked with planning the layout of a new school garden. So it's back to the start. Again, you can see the learning focus, the key vocabulary, and the resources identified at the left-hand side, and then guidance on how to go about carrying out the activity. So it's suggested that the children are presented with a scenario. The school governors have decided they'd like to create a garden, and the children have to think about how they would design a garden in their school grounds. Teachers can then decide if they wish to give the children pre-prepared items to include in their garden, like vegetable patch, flower beds, seating area, or the children could be tasked with drawing up their own list of items to include. So they could make decisions on that themselves and then source the information required. Once they know what to include in their garden design, then they must present their ideas outdoors, and they can do that by using sticks or string on grass or using chalk on the playground. So again, teaching points are highlighted throughout, and the task could be developed by linking with other areas of measurement. Here, the children are encouraged to work out how much fencing would be required for the garden. So that will involve elements of perimeter, or working out the amount of paving. So that links with area. And then in the taking ideas further section, this is an example of something that could be carried out back in the classroom. The children are given a budget, €800 or pounds, and they have to decide what maybe tools they would need, what garden furniture they would like to add, and they could perhaps draw up a spreadsheet and fill in the cost. So they source all of that and work out what they could buy with their £800 or euros. So some of the activities we try to link with other areas of the curriculum, and that's an example of how we've integrated ICT as well. And there's a further challenge as well, so bringing in percentages, so linking with other areas of mathematics as well. So that's an example of a more open-ended task. Just going to go back to the number main page. For the majority of our activities, we have placed a strong focus on the use of the natural environment. I'm going to look at these activities towards the end of number, Z's, star sequence, and tables and chairs. These are three, it's like a sequence of three activities which serve as a precursor really to later work on algebra, and they all involve the use of natural resources to make patterns. And you'll see some video evidence of this later, where the children are using conkers to explore growing patterns. And then they're expected to record their findings. Teaching points refer to sequential and global generalizations. And then we sort of link with children's thinking strategies. How do they work out how many conkers are needed for the 25th figure in the sequence or so on. And they could be extended to look at writing the relationships using symbols. So that's an example of an activity that promotes the use of natural resources. Other activities, I just go back to the main homepage. Take, for example, shape and space. We've got an example of an activity here, 2D shapes in the environment, which takes children on a shape walk around their local environment. So they might be looking at man-made features and the different shapes that they can see in their environment. And I'm conscious of time, and I know we've got some great videos to show you of these activities in action. So I'm going to just finish off with one, oh sorry, it's on handling data. One more example. This is one of the ones we were trying to decide which strand to put it in. There's a bit of measure and a bit of handling data as well. So 20-meter dash. This is an example in which children are using measuring devices outdoors. It's an example of an activity which you would find very difficult to carry out in the classroom. Children are in this one expected to work out the time it takes to run 20 meters. So they have to measure a 20-meter track outdoors and then time themselves running that distance. And they can work in groups and record the different results. And if you want to challenge the children further, then they can link with handling data, work out the mean and the range of the set of data. Taking ideas further, we'd imagine there'd be a lot of enjoyment with this activity. So the children could possibly work out how far they can jump or how far they can throw the welly. And then for further research, they could maybe look at results from the Olympic Championships over different years or across countries. And that links, of course, with geography and science and so on. So lots of opportunities for children to connect their learning across the curriculum, which we recognise as a key feature of both of our curriculum documents. Now, we're going to have an opportunity to see some of the activities in action, and I'm just going to take you to primary school in Armagh, Killylay Primary School, where Sharon Graham, one of our teachers in the PLC, and her pupils are going to share their experience of teaching and learning mathematics outdoors.
I love outdoor maths because you get lots of fresh air. I love outdoor maths because it helps me focus better.
I've been teaching outdoor maths now for some 5 or 6 years. I started off little by little, building up my repertoire of lessons and resources. One of the first things I did was to paint the multiples of all the times tables on the playground so children could use it to develop their knowledge of timetables and quick recall.
7 times 2. 7 times 1. 7 times 6. 10 times 9. 7 times 7. Today we were playing times tables jump. Someone calls out a times table, and the other two have to jump to it. It's so much fun.
I'd like to recommend the Out and About resource. It is full of excellent lessons that you can explore and adapt to suit your own particular class and outdoor environment. There are some very good fraction lessons in the Out and About resource. I particularly like the fraction Lees lesson, as it helps children understand the relationship between mixed numbers and improper fractions.
We've made 3 9s out of sticks and stones. We made a quarter with sticks and stones. I love tearing up leaves to make fractions and using sticks and stones to make them too.
Human sundial is a great lesson from the Out and About resource and super for a sunny day. It fits in really well with a space or a weather-based topic. Teaching maths outdoors provides lots of opportunities to observe children working and provide support and constructive feedback in a more discreet way.
I think measuring outside is really fun because there's lots of things to measure and a lot of things to measure with, like a meter stick or measuring tape, and it's really fun and I like it.
It's worthwhile investing in boards with strong clips. This is particularly essential in windy weather.
I like learning about area outside because there's bigger things to measure.
And there's more room and it's really enjoyable.
Children are certainly more engaged in their learning and they're much happier, and collaboration and cooperation happen much more naturally.
I prefer to be learning outside. It's more fun than just being stuck in the classroom.
One of the first lessons that I tried from the out and about resource was the probability walk. It's one that the children really enjoyed, and it's one that you can adapt easily to your own particular locality, and it is certainly one that I will add to my repertoire of lessons. For 3 or 4 years now, I've been teaching triangular and square numbers outdoors, where children build the little patterns from pebbles and stones, or even pine cones or chestnuts, depending what time of year it is. And I found it invaluable, and the children have really enjoyed it. So then I was keen to try out some of the other pattern ideas included in the out and about resource, like the Z's, tables and chairs, and the star patterns, and it has been very successful, and the children have really enjoyed it and learned lots from it. maths hunt is a great way to consolidate and revise a concept. Learning maths outdoors helps children develop a more positive attitude to maths with the beautiful environment, natural environment that they're working in, and they do love handling natural resources.
I like doing outdoor maths because you get lots of fresh air. I like doing outdoor maths because it's a lot more fun than sitting in class all day.
So thank you to Sharon and her pupils from Killylay Primary School for that wonderful presentation, showing us an example of some of the activities that can be done outside. I'm now going to take you to the Getting Started page. So for some of you today, this you might be new to teaching mathematics outdoors or in the early stages of your journey. And this Getting Started page really provides some practical advice just to get you off to a good start. So we've sort of 3 key points. Be realistic. So we'd encourage you just to start with something simple and manageable. Trialing less complex activities will help to build confidence and competence as well. Be prepared. As with indoor lessons, careful organisation of resources is vital to ensuring that the activity goes smoothly. Don't be afraid to improvise or make amendments to what is suggested in the activity pages. You may need to consider the seasons. The star sequence activity that we looked at earlier may need to be adapted if you're carrying it out in the summertime. May not be conkers available for that activity at that time of year. And be flexible as well. The activities may need to be adapted to suit the age and ability of your children, as well as your own school environment. As I mentioned earlier, some of the activities may be carried out in one lesson. Others, such as garden designs, may be better developed over a period of time. Finally, we've got a list of recommended resources. This is the teachers on the PLC advise some resources they find would be helpful if you're getting started with outdoor learning. And I'm going to hand over to Síun, and we're going to hear shortly from Jennifer Holligan from St. Cronan's Senior National School. And she's going to share her experiences of getting started with outdoor learning in mathematics.
Thanks, Pamela. I just get this up and running.
Hello, my name is Jennifer and I'm a 6th class teacher in a large mixed senior primary school in Swords County, Dublin. I started taking my maths lessons outdoors about 18 months ago, and I'd like to talk to you about my experiences so far. Before I started outdoor learning in maths, I probably had a few concerns. One of them being how I'd fit more activities into an already very, very busy school week. And I also was a little bit apprehensive about how a maths lesson outdoors might maintain maths as the focus of the lesson. And to be honest, I didn't really know where to start. So I found the resources and the lesson ideas provided so practical, useful, everything from a list of the resources needed to get started, to the key teaching points, right through to steps to be followed, and then extension activities at the end. So I took the first step, brought my class outside, and very quickly I could see how engaged they were in the tasks. Concerns I had around maybe behaviour, things like that, suddenly they disappeared. The children really loved working with concrete materials, being hands-on, and you could really see the connection they were making between their maths skills and math knowledge and their local environment and the local area. And many of the activities tended to be group work or pair work. So this gave a really good opportunity for children to talk through their ideas, justify them, try different approaches. I found the outdoor environment was much more relaxed, much more open, and this encouraged the children to be a little bit braver in their thinking, to try ideas, and to really let go of the concept of there being one right idea or one right way, and to just see what different approaches they could take. I also found the different lesson ideas very inclusive. So children could be working on the same task and just at the level of their ability. And there also was extension activities for children who were able to take the concept further. Children had the opportunity to record their work in whatever way suited them or to present their findings. So this meant children were really able to work on their strengths and work to their strengths. I personally, as a teacher, got many benefits out of taking maths lessons outdoors. First of all, being out in nature is quite enjoyable. And once the children were engaged in activity, worked in their groups, it gave me an opportunity to go from group to group and actually listen and observe and get a better understanding of how they were thinking, their different thought processes, and it gave me the opportunity to just see kind of a different side to some of the children than I would have seen previously in the classroom. I also really enjoyed working as part of the group. I was able to listen to other teachers' experiences, take on board the tips and the advice they had, and it certainly gave me the confidence to try some of the lessons myself. And then within my school, I think the work I was doing with my class, being outdoors and other teachers seeing what was happening, that created an interest. And other teachers were keen to try out some ideas and collaborate around the idea of outdoor learning for maths as well. So there was a benefit both for me personally and for our school. I would recommend that anybody who is thinking about starting to do some outdoor maths lessons to just go for it. The benefit the children get, the engagement and the deepening of their understanding in the topics that we covered outside really was so rewarding. And the work involved in preparing for a lesson outside, definitely that time is so well spent when you see the richness of the lessons and the value that the children get from them. Many concepts are covered at the same time. So for example, before doing the 20-meter dash, the children had to measure 20 meters. So you're covering length, and then we recorded how long it took to run the 20 meters. So all that data that we gathered through one activity, we were able to work on for days and days. And because the children have been involved in gathering the numbers, they saw where they came from, it just meant they were a lot more involved and engaged in the work that we did around that. So best of luck in your outdoor learning and maths adventures. I found it a really positive experience, and as I now am looking at a new topic for each week or each fortnight, I always try and factor in how can I include some element of learning outdoors in each topic, because the rewards have been so good both for my class and for myself that it really has become an integral part of my teaching.
Great, thank you for preparing that earlier, Jennifer. We are, apologies, starting again. We've left some time here because one of the things certainly that I enjoyed most about this project was actually the conversations with the teachers, and to have the opportunity in a professional learning community for teachers to talk to teachers. So we're lucky enough today to have Jennifer Holligan is here from SCoTENS. We also have Sharon Graham and Pam Lowry, I think, is also still on the call from Killeen, who would be, I'm saying, delighted to answer your questions, but they certainly gave their advice very freely within the professional learning community. So I'd encourage anybody who's in the audience and you have questions at any level, as we say, there's a lot of variability in practices that are out there. So we're kind of aware that on this call, we may have people who have never taught an outdoor maths lesson. And then we may have people who are at the other end who have lots and lots of experience and are looking to develop it further. So if you do have questions for the teachers, I'd encourage you to put them in the chat. While we're waiting for some of those questions to come in, I might just start and invite some of the teachers for their comments. One of a recurring concern, and I know Jennifer noted it in her video there, of teachers who are interested in pursuing these approaches is the pressure of the crowded curriculum. And also in the senior primary classes, we have that teachers are worried about assessments and testing. And I'm just wondering if any of you, if Sharon, Pamela or Jennifer, if you'd like to say something about that, how you manage to integrate the outdoor learning in this kind of crowded curriculum.
I'll maybe start then. Everybody's very shy. I think it's really a question of starting small wherever you are. You know, and as Jennifer said, and I can remember Jennifer coming on at the very start and being so nervous and anxious, Jennifer, and it's so lovely to hear how positive the whole experience was for you. I always would say to people is to start small and to look, as Jennifer suggested, to look at your curriculum for the next week, 2 weeks, and see if there's somewhere where you could just take one small step to get outside. Failing that, you know, it's all about movement as well, as you saw in Sharon's video, maybe doing just a number trail around it, getting the clipboards out and getting the children moving and getting outdoors with them. Because you will see a difference with your children once they're outside and they're freed from the desk and the thought that they have to record on paper. When it's a clipboard, it's just a totally different atmosphere. So it's just really starting. The resource is amazing. And I hope people take the opportunity now to look at it and to see that it's all set out there for you, and it makes it really easy. So that's my input for now.
Thank you, Pam. Jennifer, I don't know if you'd like to say anything on that, just to give you the opportunity to add.
Thank you, Síun. Yeah, it was one of the concerns I had at the beginning, like I mentioned, to fit everything in the week, and then like that assessment. But like I mentioned, lots of the topics overlap. So in one lesson, you could be covering several different strands. And then I found digital recording was really the best way for assessment, either taking photographs of the children or of their work as they finished. And I just kept that in a little folder for each child as we worked on the different activities through the year. So there was a record of each child's work and their contributions. So it did take a little bit of, you know, creativity on, I suppose, my part. It was well laid out as well in the resources, different suggestions how to assess and record as well. But yeah, that's probably one area I didn't touch on earlier was how we actually did assess it. But there's certainly loads of ideas there and loads of different options. Once you get started, it does fall into place.
Thanks, Jennifer. That's great. I'm sorry, there are questions coming in now in the question and answer. Thank you. Somebody who's pointing out that the chat has been disabled. So sorry, apologies. I probably should have said questions and answers. So I see there a question from Lisa. Is there a list of some of the items, resources that have been painted in the yard? The tables look great, and the number line. What others would you recommend, and who did them for you? Pam, I think that's going back to your school, or Sharon. I can't see you on my screen if Sharon wants to come in.
I actually went to my local paint shop and just bought some gloss paint, and paint shops are usually pretty good. If they've some that they're looking rid of and that people have brought back, they will give you it maybe for free or at a reduced price. Now, I painted them on myself. We do paint a lot of markings on the playground right up from foundation stage ourselves. It is a lot cheaper. It may need to be painted over after some years, such as my times tables. Maybe could do with a wee touch up. It does take a little while. Summer months are great. I might have stayed, I'm the maths coordinator, so I would have stayed maybe late some evenings, some good evenings, and painted the markings on. It's not really that difficult. It's maybe just a wee bit time consuming. You probably do need to brush tarmac first a bit before you do paint. It can be done very cheaply, really. Just the cost of the paint and time, your own time, really. Some of the other teachers did help out with the number grid and some other little pieces.
Yeah, that's a second question, Sharon. I'm not sure if you can see it. I think people are quite taken with your yard paintings and asking, how did you get the number lines straight? I think they read practical, a very teacher question. I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and do the painting.
I think we may have had a bit of fencing or something that I used, or a piece of string even to start with, and chalk it on. I think it did chalk on a lot of things first before actually you got out the gloss paint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might just jump in there because, you know, I know some schools will use the thermal markings and they're thousands of pounds and they don't really last. So just when we started our outdoors, just as staff realized they needed something, we then just found a space and painted it. You know, and it might have been just a good day, or classroom assistants or some parents came in to help us do it. So as we did time, then we had the empty clock face. You will notice our 100 square also hasn't got the numbers in it. So that allows real for open-ended use for data handling and all sorts of things. So it's, you know, I know some schools get the 100 square with the numbers already in it. But, you know, if you have a group of children with clipboards or whiteboards and somebody has the number 39 on them and they're asked to go and position themselves where number 39 is, there's lots of learning teaching around that. So trying to think of open-ended markings. So we have decision trees, Venn diagram, Carroll diagrams. You saw different types of number lines, and that's the same in our foundation stage playground as well. So just as we saw we needed it, then we got the paints out and away we went. So not every school will allow you to paint on their tarmac, and we appreciate that. But you might have a paved area and you can chalk out shapes so that they can work out the perimeter or the area, you know. So thinking creatively what you have in school, you know, and even just taking a bit of an audit around your school to see what you actually have, because sometimes we just walk past things and we don't actually see them anymore. So maybe just saying actually what do you have in school at the minute.
And I just like to add there, I was too impressed with Pam and Sharon's fantastic yard, but they gave me the tip of both starting with chalk and also with clipboards. Something as simple as having a set of clipboards for the class just means everything becomes much more accessible outside. So if you're looking to start and you know, like that, getting the yard done could be a big undertaking. So you can start small with what you have, and as well in a lot of the activities, some of the resources are pebbles or conkers or sticks or items that the children could gather themselves either at home or if you're doing a walk in the local area or something like that. So it's really, it's beautiful, the yard markings, and it's something I'd love to work towards ourselves. But for anyone who's just starting, it's not essential to have those beautiful resources. It's something you can work towards in time.
That's really useful, Jennifer. Thank you. Because I think as we say, the simple message is just get started small and then build. I think there will be people on the call here who are either coordinating maths or coordinating outdoor learning in their schools. So I was wondering if some of you could say something about what it is that helps establish good practice in the school around outdoor learning, or what it is, what schools can do, I suppose, to support their own teachers, because I'm conscious that there will be people who are coordinating either maths or outdoor learning, and if you have any advice for those people who are on the call today.
Well, I think with anything you have to do it whole school. So there's the support and also the time and the recognition of the time within your time budgets or whatever they do in the South, you know, that there's a big focus for it, and that support is given there. You know, I know individual teachers will be keen to go out, and as Jennifer said, the other staff were like looking out, and you'll find the other children will be looking out saying, well, why are they outside and we're not? You know, and I think once you start it and see the benefits for the children in terms of their health and well-being, and I mean, those are keywords nowadays, also meeting the needs of all your children, you know, I don't think there's any reason why we can't be outside. But to me, it has to be in your school development plan, and that it's a whole school focus. Yeah.
That's great, Pamela. Very, very, very useful. Okay, I think there's a couple of other comments in the chat that I just need to come back to, I think. So there's somebody asking, will we be doing something similar for Key Stage 1? I think, I don't know if Pamela, if you want to come in there. No.
Sorry, I just wanted to unmute myself there. Well, I mean, Síun and I have really enjoyed working on this project and developing the ideas. It has been very time consuming just to come up with ideas and align those with the curriculum and so on. And we valued the support that we had from SCoTENS to fund the project. We're almost out of funding, so we don't have any immediate intentions to develop any further activities. But this is where we would maybe ask you and your colleagues in school to give us some feedback. Certainly, we can use that feedback if we decide to apply for further funding to develop the ideas in the future. It would be good just to have that research base, just to see, the difference it's making, or how schools receive the resources, or even just the desire for more material. So the immediate answer is no plans to develop it for Key Stage 1 at the moment, but we're not ruling out the possibility in the future.
Thanks, Pamela. And I think, I just echo that. It is really helpful if you fill in that feedback in any way, because it just helps us also show the interest that's there amongst teachers, that this is something teachers are interested in, that they'd like to push, and that we would obviously like to support teachers in any way we can. Okay, so I think we're just coming to the end. I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Dr. Maura Coulter, to close off the launch today. I don't think we have managed to put in the chat yet the link to the resources, so I'll include that for you to go and explore. And I'll hand over to Maura now to finish off today's launch.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm delighted that Síun has invited me along today to hear about more about the Out and About resource. And just to give you, while Síun has kind of given you my titles there, just my background is in physical education and outdoor learning. So as soon as Síun showed me the resource there last week, I was going, yes, more people are taking children outdoors for more reasons. So it's fantastic for that. So just what I've heard and what I've picked up from today is that the benefits of outdoor learning for children and the positive outcomes for learning outdoors for children. And even in the chat, some of the teachers already, the participants today, have alluded to that, where they are working in the outdoors with children and the positive impacts it has, not just on their learning, but on their social engagement as well with each other and engaging with each other and that. And we've heard that from the teachers involved here today as well. I think it's fantastic. Yes, the research showed the positives and the benefits. It also showed and demonstrated the challenges. But I think the 3 teachers here today presenting and showing the videos of their schools showed how those challenges can be overcome and how you can get around those challenges with acknowledging that it is a difficult process when you're trying something new and engaging the children maybe in something that's new for them. But one thing that I think you all forgot was it's great for the teachers too. The teachers have huge benefits from it. So while you all talked about the children's learning, I think you need to give yourself some praise as well in that how you benefited from it, how you learned, and how teachers generally from being in the outdoors, did it make you feel better? I definitely think Sharon's painting skills probably improved and very good at the painting straight lines now, and the physical fitness outside with those paint tins and paint brushes. So I think there's benefits as well for the teachers in engaging with the children. And somebody talked already about getting to know your children better. You actually, I think Jennifer, you alluded to that. So I think there's huge, not to forget the huge benefits it has for the teacher as well as for the children with what you're doing and what this resource offers. I think it's hugely important for everybody who's on the call today, everybody who's at the launch here, to spread the gospel, spread the good news. And I think we might need to put it maybe in the question and answer box, because I think the chat is limited just to the panelists. So we may need to find a way of sharing the link to the resource and the link to the SCoTENS funding that Noel spoke about earlier. We'll get that out to all panelists or all participants in the call today, whether we can do it during the call or after the call, just to make sure that everybody has that. But going back to the resource and the out and about and the website, it's beautiful. It is so easy to navigate, extremely user-friendly. The list of resources, I think, and the useful tips. Jennifer spoke about it there, and I have it written down here in big letters. A good, strong clipboard is definitely needed. I'd also, in my own experience, I would go with try the chalk, try the plastic pockets. Don't make anything permanent. Don't go laminating or painting until you're sure it's in the right place, the right position. What way does the rain fall? What way does the sun shine? All those practical things that need to be considered when you're outdoors. So do take on everybody's advice here today before you embark on doing this. But I love the references to PE and the maths with PE. I also, one picture that really caught my attention was they were outside regardless of weather. It was one lovely picture of them all with their coats, their hoods up, so that the weather didn't deter you either from taking your maths outside. And I think that's very much a part of outdoor learning as well, that it's just about the clothing and the high-vis jackets and things like that. So there's a little bit of preparation there as well. But you could see that and you'd accounted for that in all your lessons. It's fabulous. So I suppose just to finish, and you've said this already, so I'm just really pulling on what you've already told everybody. And in my own experience, I think, Pam, you said this, start small, baby steps, and most importantly, keep going and don't give up. If a little thing doesn't work today, don't give up. Try something else tomorrow, try something else next week with your maths lesson, with another activity, and just keep trying at it. I think Pamela and Síun, you're definitely onto something here, and I'm sure Noel and SCoTENS might find some funding somewhere if we can, or within your own institutions as well, for the Key Stage 1 resource. That I think there's a need and a want out there. It's fabulous. I know I will be getting my colleagues in university here, and also some European colleagues I have at the minute. We're working on an outdoors project, on an Erasmus project, and looking at resources for teachers. I definitely will be pointing them to this out and about resource. So please, everybody, share. I think it's a really valuable resource, an excellent resource. The work, it's beautiful. So well done to everybody involved. Congratulations, and I'm delighted to be able to launch this for you today.